Good morning, everybody. Welcome to a typical Ooty day, bright and sunny. All of us in the Ooty Literary Committee are really proud and thrilled to have you all here for our third edition. This festival, probably the tiniest and maybe the newest Lit Fest in the country, is pretty unique on various counts. When was the last time any of you attended a Lit Fest in a library? And I'm not talking about just any old library. This is the Nilgiri Library, one of the oldest and definitely the best maintained. Most of us who have grown up here have benefited immensely from its phenomenal collection of journals and books for every age group, and I'm pretty sure that this is the only literary festival in the world which was started by two local grandmothers over a cup of broken orange pekoe tea at the Ooty Club. With a welcome by the Todas and rhythmic Badga beats, you have been introduced to a typical Nilgiri way. And I haven't even started talking about the chocolates, eucalyptus oil, the teas, the barkis, Shinkau's chili chicken, and bhajis. The people behind this festival are Yash Muthanna, Geetha Srinivasan, Gerard Pinto, Greaves Henriksen, Dr. Sheela Nambiar, Meenakshi Venkatraman, Jaya Bakshi, and me, Shernaz Sethna. The conductor of this symphony is Gerard Pinto, who has now become an honorary Nilgiri Wala, if I can call you that. Before we begin the proceeds of the day, of day one, we would like to observe 2 minutes silence as a mark of respect to Mr. G.G. Muthanna. See on display were presented by Rotary Club Nilgiri West to all the winners. And now, this year, we are proud to announce the recipient of the Ooty Literary Festival Lifetime Achievement Award to Shanta Gokhale. Let us all give her a bigger hand. She will be in conversation with Gerard Pinto. Please, can we have Shanta Gokhale, Ranjit Hauskate, Samira Khan, and Gerard Pinto on the dais?
Out there, but what you will not see is the work that goes behind. So Samira first.
Views in the Times of India, and most recently is an ardent reader of her newspaper column in the Mumbai Life on her own terms, fearlessly in the pursuit of creativity, the arts, writing, media, journalism, even as she continues to be a single mother and now a grandmother and make ends meet whatever honest way she can, including working in public relations. What more can I say? She inspires through her work and her life. Thank you.
I first met Shanta when I was 18 years old. And at that point, she was the mother of my closest friend, Girish Sharni, who is a writer in his own right. I would not have guessed then that about a year after that first meeting, Shanta would actually ask me to write on art for the Times of India, of which she was the arts editor. And it's been an extraordinary journey. And I want to identify just 2 or 3 things here which have always been extremely important and inspiring for me as far as this long period of mentorship is concerned. What Shanta did as arts editor at the Times, she presided over in that sense. So there was immense generosity of spirit. There was faith in a younger generation that would actually take to the arts, that had a certain engagement with the arts. And for many of us, this was a formative moment. And the energy of that moment remains with all of us in our different writing practices. From Shanta also I learned truly what it means to be a critic. Because up until that point there were various models of criticism. One was very academic and dry, one was purely journalistic. But Shanta showed all of us how the art of criticism, it is an art, could be founded equally on empathy as on expertise. And that is not an easy balance to achieve. So through her own practice and through, I wouldn't say her pedagogy, because she didn't sit you down, she never talked down to people. As an editor, she was always democratic. But it's through Shanta's writing, through her column in recent years, through all of the books that she's written, you have a model of how you can respond to an artistic or a literary or a musical practice, but how, even as you're attending to the unique nature of that raga, that book, that painting, that sculpture, whatever it is, you never lose sight of the larger context that it occupies. And for all of us, this is an extremely important issue because criticism today is in a state of crisis. There are no rules to go by. It would seem all criteria are up for question. So what is it that you work with when you write criticism? And these are the kinds of challenges that Shanta sensitized many of us certainly need to. And each time I sit down to write a piece of criticism, the first thought that comes to my mind is, well, how would Shanta address this question? Thank you for your invitation.
Bombay's literary landscape is actually really varied and really stimulating and challenging. Unfortunately, it has this really stupid tag of being a commercial city that's only interested in money, which it is not. Many great literary people lived there. Many literary movements started there. Many literary movements were nurtured there. And Shanta Gokhale was like a mountain on that landscape. So, I'm a Roman Catholic Goan boy, and Roman Catholic Goans, thanks to Hindi cinema, don't speak Hindi or they speak it very badly. They don't speak Marathi, they speak it very badly. They speak everything badly, including English. That's the general attitude. Because, what men wear, that's how we speak. And suddenly, out of nowhere, I was once possessed by the desire to translate from Marathi into English. A novel that I was reading in Marathi that I loved very much. So I ran to What Do by Sachin Gulnarkar, do you think I could translate it? And she said, you, with an exclamation mark. And it was not you, with a question mark. Now, if you think punctuation doesn't matter, you should understand that after I have now done 9 translations, that out of 6 of which are published, 3 of which are not, which are waiting for publishing. None of these would have happened if Shanta Gokhale realized that when you affirm someone who's making their first steps in a form, you give them the gift of confidence. When you ask whether they are capable, whether they have the requisite language skills, or they have the requisite intellectual abilities, you're actually cutting the ground under their feet. So if you're a teacher of any kind, I'd say why don't you put an exclamation mark rather than a question mark? Because that's an exclamation mark. Thank you. So the Ooty Literary Festival partakes both of its solidity and its fluidity. So there's been a constant kind of debate between Shanta and all of us about whether she should deliver a keynote address or whether we should be in conversation. She would prefer us to be in conversation, but because she's really committed to what she does, she wrote a keynote address. Then she made the mistake of showing me the keynote address. And I read the keynote address, and it was late in the night, and you should not really go and knock on a beautiful lady's club room door late in the night. It's not done right, not in the Ooty club shop. We don't do that sort of thing now. Exactly. But I knocked on the door and I said, Shanta, you have to do your keynote address, mainly because it is something that is worrying many thinkers, many people who have outspoken opinions, many people who are wondering about the climate that we live in, and we all need that affirmation. So Shanta, can I ask you to, shall we do the... First we will of course present the teacher.
I'm an inept speaker. As you can see, specs left there, me here. I don't like doing it, frankly, but also, after the kind of build-up that I've been given, please remember it's about my writing. As I always say, Goddess Saraswati dances on my computer keys, not on my tongue. So please accept this for what it is. For the last few years, there has been a growing fear amongst us that if we write what we think and what we see, we might cause deep offense to some community, lay ourselves open to legal action. Public interest litigation, PIL, was first created to help the powerless individual against the might of the state. It was a huge blessing then, but more and more, it has become a curse for writers and artists. It seems as though anybody can run to the courts and file a PIL to seek redress in the name of caste, community, religion. Redress means gagging the writer and banning her work. Occasionally, hurt communities don't even bother with the law. They use the old weapon of ostracism and make life unlivable for the writer. When I began to write 60 years ago, we hadn't dreamt that a day would come. Sorry, I need water. When this newly born Republic of Hope would turn into a republic of fear for thinkers and writers. Our world was full of iniquity, injustice, but identities hadn't been schooled into becoming these eggshell, fragile things that they are today. There was anger, we felt it. We were gloomy, we were frustrated. There were shortages, unemployment, corruption, but we were allowed to express our views without fear. We had evolved forms of writing, Navakatha, Navkavya, Navanatya, and we thought we were doing our social duty by sweeping all the old romanticism out of the house and showing up the cobwebs and the pitted walls that these houses had. As a free nation, these had become our concern, and it was our duty to do something about them. When I say we, I'm referring to the middle class, liberals. We were helping to build the nation, we thought. But somewhere, we weren't connecting the dots. We did not see that the evils which were troubling us were an integral part of an entire system created expressly to benefit the many and to benefit the few and deprive the many. By the 80s, we knew better. A character in my play Avinash, says about his brother who is suffering from depression, that depression may not be the result entirely of some inborn psychological tic. Its roots might lie also in economics, in the social structure, in the political system. To this, the character's father retorts, what has politics got to do with it? What has politics got to do with it? You drag politics into everything. It is always a question of destiny. What aroused us from our middle-class complacence, from the idea that we knew what, was the emergency. For the first time, this worm in the apple of democracy showed its ugly face to us. For the first time, we connected the dots. The great actor Sriram Lagu famously said, we had been a generation of slumberers. But now we were wide awake. A whole lot of civil rights organizations sprang up all over the country. In America, Woodward and Bernstein investigated the Watergate scandal. This had happened before the emergency. So this is the 70s altogether. The emergency brought investigative journalism to our shores. Creative writers were called upon to stand up, be counted, take up a position. G.P. Deshpande, the playwright, had already by then written his famous modern classic, Udvast Dharmashala, which I had translated as A Man in Dark Times. In the play, a professor is charged with being a card-holding Marxist, and he faces a university inquiry. The inspiration for the play, of course, had come from the House Committee on Un-American Activities in Washington. Their work had wound up, coincidentally, just before the emergency was declared. America and India were suddenly not too far apart. Of course, as far as the emergency was concerned, nobody had inquiries. Media was censored, and political rivals were simply picked up, imprisoned, and tortured. The police did their duty with dedication. The 70s were altogether, in this fashion, an eye-opening decade for our generation. 2 years before the emergency, we had been knocked on the head